train full of strangers breaks down in a forest at midnight. By dawn, most of them are dead, and the ones who survive are no longer entirely human. Joe works as a train guard at a London station. Tonight, he opens his locker and finds a letter telling him he didn't get the supervisor job he applied for. He crumples it. Before he can think about it, his manager tells him the night guard called in sick and someone has to cover the last service to Eastborough. Joe almost says no. Then he sees that Ellen, the train's cart attendant he's been quietly hoping to ask out, is working the same shift. He takes it. The passengers board and Joe works the carriages, checking tickets, and most of them treat him like an inconvenience. A woman named Kate can't find her ticket and turns nasty when Joe charges her the fare. A teenager named Nina talks loudly on her phone, ignoring him. A businessman named Adrian barely looks up from his headphones. Billy, a young man in his 20s, changes into comfortable clothes and settles in. Paul heads off to the toilet. And there's the elderly couple, Ged and Jenny, who are heading home. Through it all, Joe keeps finding reasons to look at Ellen. He finally works up the nerve to ask her for a drink. She turns him down, politely, and Paul, watching the whole exchange, makes it more awkward than it already is. Joe retreats to his cab. The train runs through the countryside in the rain. Passengers get off at each stop until only a handful are left. Then the service reaches the woods. Something screeches against the line, and the train lurches to a hard stop. The driver's voice comes over the speaker. They've hit something on the track. He's going out to check it. Everyone should stay seated. Joe moves through the carriages to find out what's happening. Adrian helps Ellen gather the trolley that tipped over at the stop. On the floor, Joe finds 2 sets of keys, and both of them belong to Adrian. Outside, the driver finds a deer crushed under the wheels and tries to drag it clear. He isn't strong enough. Then something moves in the trees behind him. He turns. Whatever comes out of the dark reaches him before he can run, and the rain washes the carriage window clean before anyone inside sees a thing. Joe tries the radio. The driver doesn't answer. He lets himself into the cab and finds it empty. He looks out into the black and sees nothing. He calls the control room. The signal is poor and full of static, but he manages to hear the message. A storm has brought trees down across the network, knocked out signals, and the nearest replacement train is 4 hours away. Joe tells the passengers, 4 hours and a missing driver. They start to come apart. Adrian raises his voice to silence them, then lays out his plan. No phone signal, no driver. So they walk the tracks to the next station and call for help. Joe says it's dangerous. He says he could lose his job. The passengers side with Adrian. Joe unlocks the door. The group climbs down and walks alongside the train in a single line. Not one of them notices the shape watching from the tree line. A quick question before we continue. Have you seen Howl? If so, was it in the cinema back in 2015, or did you find it later on streaming? I'd love to know. Something shifts in the bushes ahead. Joe and Ellen go to look. They find the driver, or what the woods has left of him. They turn and tell everyone to get back on the train. Howling rises in the dark behind them. It takes Joe a few seconds to work the lock, and that delay costs them. Everyone scrambles aboard. The elderly couple, Ged and Jenny, move slower than the rest. As Jenny climbs in, the creature catches her leg and drags her halfway back out the door before the others haul her in and seal the car. Jenny's leg is badly torn. Ellen washes the wound and binds it as best she can. Billy and Matthew hold a torch to the window and see nothing in the black outside. Then the creature slams into the side of the train and everyone drops to the floor. Claws rake along the carriage. The group stays silent until the howling moves off into the distance. Joe goes to the cab and tries the train phone. No signal. Billy joins him and explains he's an engineering student. He's already spotted the problem. The crash split the fuel line, and until someone patches it, the train won't go anywhere. Outside, the antenna has been torn off the roof. Back with the passengers, the argument turns to what attacked them. Adrian says bear. Nina points out that bears don't howl. Jenny, feverish, says it wasn't an animal at all. It looked like a man. The others decide she's in shock. Then something starts moving inside another carriage. Joe takes a fire extinguisher and goes to check with Billy and Adrian. The sound is coming from the toilet. Adrian readies himself to swing. Joe unlocks the door, and Paul falls out. completely unaware of anything that's happened. He's been stuck in there since before the crash. When they tell him, his only complaint is that he missed his stop. They check Jenny again. The wound looks worse, and her fever is climbing. Kate sees how frightened Nina is and sits with her, talking about her own daughter to settle her. Then the creature comes back. It pounds the door, climbs onto the roof, and the lights begin to fail. In that exact moment, Nina's phone finds a signal and her mother calls. Before Nina can get a word out, the creature breaks through the window, takes her by the legs, and pulls her into the dark. Kate lunges for her hand. Matthew drags Kate back before the creature can take her too. The sounds from the roof tell the rest. The survivors fall back to another carriage. Kate breaks down because no one helped Nina. The group turns on each other until Ged shouts them quiet and reminds them they only get through this together. They find a box of tools and start tearing seats apart to barricade every door and window. Time passes. Jenny and Kate realize neither of them ever learned Nina's name. Jenny admits quietly that she always wanted children and never could. In a corner, Adrian shows Joe the 2 sets of keys. One home for his family, one flat for the women he keeps from them. He believes in doing whatever it takes to get by. He asks Joe to escape with him and leave the weak ones behind. Before Joe can answer, Jenny vomits blood. 2 of her teeth come up with it. The argument restarts, then stops when Joe notices Paul is gone again. The barricade on the connecting door has been moved. Joe and Billy buy themselves a minute to look. Joe finds Paul trapped in the toilet a second time. As Joe works the door, the light inside shatters and the creature comes down through the roof. Joe has to step back. Through a gap in the ruined door, he sees enough to know Paul is gone. Joe turns to go back and finds Adrian has blocked the connecting door behind him. Adrian heard the attack and decided to save himself, stripping the barricade off the exit, only to learn Joe holds the only key. Joe throws himself against the jammed door while the creature closes in. At the last second, the others wrench it open and pull him through, then seal it again. The group stacks everything they own against the doors. Billy says he can fix the train. He walks Ellen through the exact order of controls to start it as soon as he patches the leak. Joe takes the speaker and tells the passengers, strangers a few hours ago, that they're getting out of this together. Billy and Matthew climb down into the dark. Billy slides under the train to reach the leak. Matthew keeps watch with an axe. Inside, Kate tells Adrian they spent a night together once. He doesn't remember her at all. Jenny's breathing turns ragged, and Adrian starts pushing for someone to deal with her before she turns. Outside, Matthew hears screaming in the forest and goes to look. He finds Nina high in a tree, and the thing feeding on her isn't alone. The woods are full of them. Matthew runs. The pack closes around him, and his axe does nothing. Everyone on the train hears how it ends, followed by one long howl. Jenny freezes mid-breath. Adrian demands that Kate be the one to kill her. Billy patches the leak, and the lights come back on. Joe and Ellen take the controls. 2 of the creatures circle the train, drawn by Billy's scent, so he hauls himself up under the chassis to hide. They appear at the front window and startle Joe and Ellen, who throw the train into motion. Billy clings to the underside as it pulls away. Jenny finishes changing. Kate frees Adrian before Jenny tears loose with her new strength. Adrian moves to help Ged, and Jenny knocks him flat. A second creature reaches the door and seizes Kate. She screams for help. Adrian kicks her, and the creature holding her clean off the moving train. The train races on, and Kate is left behind in the dark. Ged tries to reach his wife. Adrian swings a wrench at Jenny. Ged turns on Adrian and knocks him back before the blow can land. Then Jenny takes her husband by the throat, and whatever she's carrying passes into him through the bite. Underneath, Billy loses his grip, tears the patch loose, and the engine dies again. The train rolls to a stop. Joe and Ellen rush in and drive an iron bar into Jenny before she can finish Adrian. Joe grabs Adrian by the throat, ready to beat him to the floor, but Ellen pulls him away. The creatures use the opening to get inside. Joe and Ellen run for the door to lock it. Adrian works out that he stands a better chance if someone else stays behind as bait, and he knocks Joe down. The blow isn't enough. Joe gets back up and fights, and Ellen grabs a shard of metal and cuts Adrian until he lets go. As Ellen tends to Joe, Adrian blocks their path, snatches the keys from the door, and throws himself out of the train. The pack closes around Adrian in the open. Before they reach him, Billy reappears with a lit Molotov and throws it. One creature goes up in flame. Billy lights a torch and drives the rest back into the next carriage, then passes Joe and Ellen a crowbar through the door. They force it open and drop onto the track. Billy buys them their seconds, and the pack takes him. Joe and Ellen run into the forest with the creatures behind them. Joe knows they can't outrun the pack together. He kisses Ellen and tells her to go. She begs him to come with her. He makes her run. Ellen finds a path and runs, while Joe turns to face the pack with a length of metal. He stabs one. It isn't enough. They overwhelm him, and one of them bites down. By the time the sky lightens, Ellen reaches the next station, still holding Joe's name tag. Out in the forest, Adrian is still running. He finds clothing scattered across the ground. The pack closes in around him, and at the front of it stands something that used to be Joe. Joe doesn't get a hero's death. He spends the whole night becoming the man everyone told him he wasn't. The soft guard who couldn't even issue a penalty fare. And his reward for all of it is to wake up as the thing in the woods. That's the gut punch. But look at where the film points him once he's turned. It doesn't send the new Joe after Ellen. It sends him straight for Adrian. The last image is the pack surrounding the one genuinely selfish man on that train, the one who got Kate killed and tried to feed everyone else to the dark. And Joe is leading them. Read it this way. The film has spent 90 minutes arguing that the real monsters wore suits and held 2 sets of keys long before any of them grew teeth. The ending just makes it literal. Adrian doesn't get turned by accident. He joins the pack he always belonged to, and Joe, even gone, still knows exactly who deserves it. Paul Hyatt made Howl as his second feature, and he came to directing from a long career as a special effects artist. He built creatures and makeup for films like The Descent and Eden Lake, and you can see that history in every frame the monsters appear in. The werewolves here are almost entirely practical, performers in full prosthetic suits with only the bent back legs added as effects in post. On a budget of around $1.9 million, that was a deliberate bet, and it pays off, because these creatures have a weight and a presence that cheap digital work at that level never manages. The single confined train wasn't only a mood choice, it was the one way to shoot a creature feature this size and keep the monsters looking real. Howl reached UK cinemas in October 2015, took almost nothing at the box office, and got filed away as minor British horror. The reviews were warmer than the ticket sales. Over the past decade, the film has found its actual audience, the people who love dog soldiers and want another British creature feature set in woods they recognize, with monsters that look like they could really tear a door off its hinges. The train that set out for Eastborough never did reach the station. The film did, though. It just took the long way round and 10 years to get there. If you enjoyed this recap, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help the channel. Thanks for watching.